Well, hello there, everybody. Today we're going to take a look at completing our sheep finding quest. I think it's one of the exercises in Chapter 8. I think it's like exercise 5 or something. So basically, once Sancho has gone and found the sheep, which we built that system and got that working in the example, we've got our sheep follow right here, and if we go up into Sancho himself, we have our collecting quest, or our collecting state machine. And this keeps track of when he has found sheep and gets them to follow him, and also when he has found all the sheep, right? So we've got the basic thing in place. So what we want to do next is get it so that Sancho finishes this quest. Now the one that we had done, we had set up so that he has to find 2 sheep. Okay, so let's see, out here in my testing world I've only got 1 sheep right now. So I'm going to have to add another sheep at some point in time, but not quite yet. I'm just going to experiment with 1 and try to get that working. And I'm also going to move him a little bit closer because I don't want to have to go running all over the world to try to find my sheep. That might be useful later on, once I've got everything working. But for right now, I don't want to have to really do a whole lot of looking around to find things. Let's see, the other thing we want to take a look at, get out of my prefabs folder there, is where we're going to put our sheep. So I can run around and I can go grab my sheep, right? And we've got this working through the chapter. I can run over here and come up here and hey, there's sheep, and my sheep will follow me. Okay, pretty cool stuff. And it follows me wherever I'm going, and apparently I'm going too fast and the sheep kind of lags behind, but yeah, we can tweak speeds. So my next thing is I've got to put my sheep somewhere. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put them inside this pen right here. I'm going to go with this pen. So let's go to, let's see, I'm going to click over here and let's see, try again. There we go. So that is fence section J. And you can see I've already built my custom colliders for this and got rid of my mesh colliders back when we did that. So fence section J, I'm going to change the name here and I'm going to call this sheep pen, because I think that'll make it a little bit easier to keep track of. And see, it doesn't really have a gate there. Would kind of like to have a gate. Let's see, it seems to me that when this was being put together that there was a fence that had a gate. So let me see if I can find that. Let's see, where are you? It was this fence down here. In fact, it's like right there behind that tree. So let's see, where is it? Where are you at? It's not that one. That's a farm building. It's this one, Form 94, I think. Nope. Well, let me just zoom in on it. I mean, I know what I'm looking for. You can almost see the gate right there. I'm looking for that thing. This thing. There it is. Oh, Darer, it's called Gate B. Imagine that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to create a copy of this, Gate B, and I'm going to go ahead and put that as a child of my sheep pen. So I'm going to make that part of my sheep pen, and let's go ahead and move it over to where my sheep pen is. So this is a kind of neat thing here. On one hand, we knew that we could do this, but didn't really specify it, so kind of might not have really realized that we could really just copy things around in here and move things however we might like. But if you worked through building the basic custom collision systems, then it possibly would have connected that we can just grab those and create, move them and do whatever we want with them. Now my pivot point is way off on this thing, which is moderately annoying at the moment, but I can deal with this. Let's see here. Let's try a reset. That didn't really help me. Yeah, that didn't do what I wanted it to. Okay, so I'm just going to have to deal with my pivot point being way out of whack here. Let's scale this thing. Maybe like that. Maybe scale a little bit more. better. And right about there, and get this thing lined up here. Something like that. So I've got it lined up. Take a look what we've got going on here. Looks like it's up too high. There we go. Okay, so there's my gate. Nice. And it already has a collider on it. In fact, it has this box collider right here. That is a, it's an obvious regular box collider, but I'm going to add another one to this as well. And I'm going to do an add component, physics, box collider. And what I'm going to do with this box collider is I'm going to kind of make it a little bit bigger than that one. So let's go our size on the X. Here's my red X right there. So I'm going to make it a little bit wider. So let's expand our X size here. Something like so. So that way Sancho can run up and basically touch the fence there. And I'm going to make it a trigger. Now let's go ahead and just make it an even one right there. Okay. And we're going to give this a tag, so that way we know when we collide with it. And the tag I'm going to give it, let's see, do I have anything I can use up here? Aha, I've got a sheep gate. Now if you don't have a sheep gate, just go ahead and do add tag. Basically when I add tag, I don't just add one tag at a time. I'll go through and anything that I think I might need at some point in the future, I throw it in there. If I don't need it, then I don't use it. But if I do need it, then it saves me the slight thing of adding a tag and going back and whatnot. So I'm going to tag that as my sheep gate. Okay, we're looking good there. And then next up, I'm going to need a place inside here where my sheep go. Now the hint kind of said think about the waypoint system we used for the spider, and that's kind of a decent starting point. So I'll start with that, but I'm going to end up kind of combining our spider waypoint system with our spider random movement system a little bit. But we'll cross that bridge when we get there. Let's go game object. I'm going to do a 3D object. A cube will work just fine. And I'm going to put this cube up here inside my sheep pen, like so. And let's move my cube over to here. Okay, well let's move it down. There we go. Over here, and I'm going to kind of get it like roughly in the middle here. There we go. And then I'm going to call this cube sheep. Now I'm going to call it pen waypoint. Pen waypoint. And let's see. It doesn't need a box collider for anything. And I don't need a mesh render. Basically, I'm just going to be grabbing its location information. It's really all I want from it. Let's see. Okay, so we've got our cube all set up and ready to go. Nice. So let's go to our Sancho, and let's do some stuff with Sancho here. Where are you at, Sancho? Let's just do it this. Okay, that didn't work. Sancho, there he is. Okay, so I'll pull this over. So what we want is once we've got all sheep, let's edit this instance. Once we have all the sheep, once we're in this location, we've got all our sheep and we're over here, what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to start looking for a collision with our gate, right? So let's add an event, and I'm going to call this event hit sheep gate. Okay, so that's going to be my event. I hit the sheep gate. I'm going to add a state over here. Right click, add state, and I'm going to call this state return sheep to pen. And it will have a add transition hit sheep gate, which will go over here to our sheep, to our all sheep, and my got sheep will go right in there. Okay, so once we've found all our sheep, we're going to go over here and we're going to be waiting until we collide with the sheep gate, at which point we're going to be, hey, whatever we have to do because we got all our sheep. Okay, so let's see, instead of sheep has been found, I'm going to change this at this point to say the sheep go in the pen now. Okay, so when we see that pop up down here, we know it's all working. Okay, so we're going to need a trigger event here, so let's go Action Browser, Trigger Event, like so. And on trigger enter looks good. Collide with a sheep gate, and we're going to send our event is going to be our hit sheep gate. Alright, now one thing we're going to have to change, because I've only got one sheep out there right now, I'm going to change my find sheep to 1. So that way I only have to find one sheep. That'll save me some time. Okay, so with that done, let's go ahead and see what we've got going on here at the moment. Now notice we haven't done anything to the sheep. The sheep is just like, hey, whatever. So let's come over here. Can we grab a sheep? Sheep, what's up with you? Aha! Notice we're right down here. Well, what just happened? Well, let's take a look. Something happened, right? So let's do a little debugging here. Take a look at what's going on. Okay, we're in idle. Well, that's a good sign, right? Good sign. So let's run over here. Come on, sheep. We found the sheep. We went here. We never went here. Huh. Okay, now this is a situation where this made sense when we built it. But now that we're wanting to do other stuff, we're running into a problem here. So let's take a look at what we've got going on here. So let's edit our instance again. And what's going on here is we come into our found sheep, and this happens whenever we collide with a sheep. We're going to go through and we're going to tell our sheep that it has been found. Then we're going to store its variable. It has a follow variable, and we're going to store that in been found. And if this sheep has already been found before, then we're going to skip it, and we're just going to go straight up to follow me, right? And actually, if we think about it, instead of going straight up to follow me, what we should do is go straight back to idle, because realistically, now sure it can go up to follow me, that's fine, but it's already following me. You know, this whole system right here, these front two are checking to see if we have already found that particular sheep. If we have, then just go back to idle and ignore it. Otherwise, we're going to add 1 to the number of sheep we've found, and if our number of sheep equals the number of sheep we need to find, we're going to go straight to got sheep. Notice we never went up here to follow, right? So we never got up there to follow. So what we're going to do is we're going to kind of move some stuff around here. We're going to come over here and find count, and this add right here is good. We're going to take this int compare. Let's copy this. Come up here to follow me. Let's paste this in here, just like so. And we're going to need, if it equals, we're going to use this got sheep. So let's add transition, do a got sheep, put it over here. Let's get rid of this got sheep. We will delete that transition, and we are going to remove that integer compare right there. Now we can even take this int add and put it up here and follow me as well. But the thing is, it doesn't really matter. It can be right here. This is just fine, because it will only add the sheep if the one that we just touched has not already been found before. And you know, we did all that when we built this in, going through the book, going through the chapter example. And now up here in follow me, it will actually do the comparison, and if it equals, then it will go over here. Then we've got all our sheep, and we can go take care of putting them in our pen. So, you know, to see how this is going now, turn around here. Notice now the sheep is following me, and also notice this is waiting for me to go into the sheep pen. Alright, so let's see what we can do. No, don't hit your sheep. It's a nice little sheep. So we'll run over here, let's see, and the sheep go in the pen now. There we go. Okay, so Sancho is all set up. Sancho is all set up. Now, you might look at this and be kind of like, well, why didn't we just build it this way in the chapter example to begin with, as far as where we, you know, as far as not having the all sheep come out of found count and whatnot? Well, a couple reasons. Reason number one is what we're doing in the chapter example. That approach worked. It solved the problem. There weren't any problems with it. It did what we needed it to do. Reason number two is that there are some situations where I've intentionally left some bugs in the system for us to come back to and solve as our development keeps going along. We need to be careful as we learn game development. We need to be careful of this idea that our game, our code, our state machines are going to be perfect the first time. There's an iteration to it, and in order to be able to find these bugs, as we talk about in the testing chapter at the end of the book, we really need to understand how this system works. So by understanding what we'd done here, it was fairly easy to fix that pretty straightforward little bug there. So let's see. Yeah, okay. So we got that taken care of. Now let's get our sheep to go into the pen. So I'm going to grab my sheep over here. Get rid of that. Sheep, where are you? Sheep, there's my sheep. And he has this stuff, right? So let's go ahead and do something here. I'm going to add a global event. So I'm going to edit my instance, and I'm going to call this event, I don't know, touched pen. Okay, that's going to be my global event, which means it can be called from anywhere by anything. And I'm just going to hit that checkbox. And we saw this global event when we dealt with the Spider AI system that we did back in chapter 5. So let's right click here. Let's do an add state. And right click on that again. Add global transition. Touched pen. And you can see it gets added right up here. So whenever something calls this touched pen, it's going to basically exit all of this stuff and come over here. Alright, so that's pretty nice. Okay, let's see. Let's go to our state 1. I'm going to find pen position, and then I'm going to move sheep. There we go. So these are going to be the things I'm going to be doing. So I'm going to find the position. Once that is finished, I'm going to come down here and put the sheep in that position, like so. And then once the sheep is in that position, I'm going to go ahead and do a random animation here. So let's do a blah, 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 blah. What am I looking for? Copy selected action. And let's come over here into our actions. We will paste this action in here. So we'll do a random animation inside there. Cool, whatever. Okay, so we need to find our pen position. We're going to need a couple of variables. One is going to be a float. I'm sorry, not a float. It's going to be a vector 3. And this is going to be the position we want to move to. Okay, so this position is going to be, I'll call it pen position, for lack of a better thing to call it. And that looks cool. And then we're going to need one more, and this is going to be a game object. And this I'm going to call my pen waypoint. I'll do an add. And I'm going to make this an inspector so it's easy to change later if I need to. But I'm also going to go ahead and assign it something to begin with. And I'll go into my sheep, and let's see, cube. Cube is what it was supposed to be. I meant to change the name. I thought I did change the name. So let's go to cube, and cube is pen waypoint. Alright, there we go. Let's get back into our sheep. Back into our sheep. Where are you, sheep? There you are. And pen waypoint, but it's global, so I can change it. Okay, so here in find position, let's go to our state. I want to get can we do a get position? What is this? Gets the position of a game object and stores it in a vector 3 variable. Hey, that's what I want. So I'm going to do an add action to state. Let's see, I'm going to specify my game object. My game object is going to be pen waypoint. I'm going to store it in pen position. Looks cool. And then I'm going to do a set position, like so. Add that action. And this is this set position, get position. We kind of did this with our waypoint, with our checkpoints for Sancho and his respawning. So let's see, I'm going to use my owner. I'm going to set it to be my pen position. And let's see what we've got here. We might want to play around with world and self and see what happens. So let's go ahead and see what happens. And okay, where are you, sheep? You over here? Let's grab you, sheep. Come on, sheep, follow me. Let's see where our sheep goes. Oops, I didn't mean to punch him. Okay, I skipped something, didn't I? I can tell I skipped something because I'm still right here and follow. And what I skipped was inside Sancho. I never did. Once I get over here and I got all the sheep, I need to go ahead and send that event. Edit instance, action browser, send event. Okay, so let's take a look at what we've got here. So we've got a send event. So we can do this. We can send event by name. We can send a random event. I don't really want to send a random event. That doesn't sound like a good thing. So this sends an event after an optional delay. Okay, we have to specify our target. Well, Sancho doesn't really know his target. He just knows that there are some sheep following him. So maybe that send event isn't quite what we're after. So let's back up and let's take a look at event here, and let's kind of scroll through here, and let's see. What is a forward event? Forward an event received. No, that doesn't look good. Let's see here. Forward all events. That's not going to do what I want either. Next, random send event. Well, let's throw this send event in here real quick. Self. Here we go. So what we got here, since I don't know who I'm sending it to, I can broadcast this to all of them. Now this, what I just did there, this is a pretty important kind of thing. Did I know what I was looking for? Well, yes, in this case I actually did know what I was looking for, but a lot of times when you're working on stuff, you don't quite know exactly what you're looking for. And you really need to develop this ability to kind of look at things and think about logically what it is you need. I knew I needed a send event, and I was hoping to find something over here that would let me send an event to anything, right? Because I didn't know what I wanted to send it to. But all I was seeing was this send event where it has this self thing right here, and I'm reading this, and it doesn't look like it's what I wanted, so just throw it in there and let's take a look anyway. And you can see right here I have the option to actually broadcast this send event to everything, which is very good. Now I'm going to exclude myself because I don't have this event, and the event I'm going to send is going to be a global event, and it is going to be this touched pin. Isn't that what I called it? I think that's what I called it. Let me go check my sheep again. Yeah, it's got to be touched pin. Let me check my sheep. Touched pin. Yes, that is what I called it. So I will go to down here, and global event will be touched pin. There we go. And that's my global event. And I'm going to send that event to everybody. So anybody who has that event is then going to respond and do something. All right. So let's see what happens this time. And we've still got a couple of minor things to tweak on our sheep to really get this working better, correctly, whatever. We should run into one of the problems right here. Oh, no, worked just fine. There's our sheep. Hey, looks cool. Our sheep's there. Yeah, he's floating. Okay, if I add a rigid body to my sheep, he drops down. No big deal. All right, well, let's expand this. So in here, back in my Sancho, let's go to variables and edit instance. And this time, I want to find two sheep. I want to find 2 sheep. So let's put 2 sheep out here. Hi sheep. I'm going to create a copy of you sheep. I'm going to move this copy right over here. And I'm going to rotate you a little bit. There we go. Alright, so now I've got 2 sheep out there. Let's see what we've got this time. So I'm going to come get you sheep. Nice. I'm going to come get you sheep. Nice. I got 2 sheep following me. Let's go put them in the pen. So let's come over here. Go ahead and grab my checkpoint just in case. I don't know what I would need it for, but boom. And there's my sheep. Well, there's 1 sheep. Well, let's take a look. I'm going to go to my scene view. Both sheep are right on top of each other. Why are they right on top of each other? Because I told them to be. Remember we said go to that waypoint, so they're both there at the waypoint, right on top of each other. So let's just change this up just a little bit here. So instead of maybe going to that waypoint, let's see if we can figure out a way to have the sheep just land somewhere inside of here. Okay, this will be a little bit different. This is where we're going to kind of combine a little bit of knowledge from our spider random animation system. Now what we've got works just fine. In fact, I can enter several different waypoints and just like let it, have an array of waypoints and just let it randomly pick one, and the odds are that the sheep will be just fine in there. But let's expand this anyway. So I'm going to go ahead, go to my medieval farm, go to my sheep pen, and what I'm wanting to look at here is if I open this up, I want to take a look at gate B, and I'm probably going to grab me a piece of paper, write some stuff down here. What I care about is with gate B, it has an X position of 18 and a Z position of 36. I don't care about Y. Y is up, down. Alright, so let's come over here. Let's see. Let's find you. Okay, so that is that object over there. It has an X position of 18. So as far as this parameter of my pen, it's only on Z, and I can tell that by looking right here. You can see the blue arrow, and as I move this, you can see right there, right? So that means as far as the Z for this thing, it goes from 21 to 36. My gate is at 36, and that over there is at 21. Alright, so now we've got on this side, which is going to be, because it was rotated, this is also a Z. It's not really going to be a Z though. See, as I move this, notice I'm actually moving the X. So down here, our wall is at an X of 20 and 15 up here. So our X can range from 15 to 20, and our Z, let's just double check this. Our Z can range from 21 to 15. I don't know where that 36 came from then. 21 to 15. There we go. Oh, I know where it came from. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Okay, so there we go. So those are some values we've got right there that we can use to kind of get our sheep to land inside there. So let's go back here to our sheep. I'm going to delete one of my sheep and just kind of play around with one at the moment. I'm going to need a couple more variables, so let's edit instance. They're both going to be floats. One is going to be a random X, and the other is going to be a random Z, like so. Let's go over here to our find pen position. Yeah, we'll keep it that way. I'm not going to worry about this pen waypoint. I'm going to turn that off. I'm going to go to an action browser, and we did this kind of stuff with our random spider movement. So I'm going to take a random float. I'm actually going to need 2 of these fellas. This one is going to have a minimum of 15, maximum of 21. That is going to go in my random Z. This one is 15, maximum of 20. That's going to go in my random X. Let's move both of these up to the top. And then, just like we did with the spider, we're going to do a vector 3. We're going to set this vector 3 XYZ value. Add that action. Let's bump it up here as well. The vector3 variable is going to be pen position. X is going to be my random X. Z is going to be my random Z. And then we're going to put that pen position into our owner, which is going to be our sheep. All right, let's see what we got. See how that's working. Let's go back to our Sancho and make sure he is only looking for one sheep while we're testing this out. Find sheep, put it back to a value of 1. All right, move that over there, and here we go. All right, Sancho, what you got? Coming over here. There we go. Yep. For a second there, I thought the sheep was like, no, I'm good. Okay, where'd our sheep go? He went somewhere, right? Well, let's go to our scene. Sheep, where did you go? He went over there. Well, that's odd. Why'd he go over there? Well, he went over there because he is in a different coordinate system. So let's try some stuff here. Let's take a look at some things. So if we take a look at our sheep again, you can see that it's setting the position based on self. Now I can change this to world. Not going to actually solve the problem, and we're going to explain why this doesn't solve the problem here in just a second. Let's go ahead and verify that it doesn't solve the problem. Get over here. There we go. So where'd our sheep go this time? If we go back here to our scene, notice he is actually in the same place. Okay, that's because as far as the sheep is concerned, his world and his self are actually the same location or same coordinate system. So that wasn't helping. Well then, what's wrong with our sheep? What do we have to do? Well, here's what's going on. These measurements we just made of this 1521 and 1520, they're not relative to the world. They are relative to the sheep pen. Okay, they're relative to the sheep pen. They're relative to, and more specifically, they're relative to the medieval farm. So take a look at this. I've got the sheep pen selected. See over here where this pivot point is, that point is 0, 0, 0, right? See up here, sheep pin 0, 0, 0. We grab, which one was it? Cube 10. You see its pivot point is right there, and it shifted from over here to over here, and it has shifted by 15 on the X and 18 on the Z. Kind of see some rotation going on there. So what we're going to have to do is, before we actually move our sheep to that location, we're going to have to make the sheep a child of this thing, so that way its coordinates are within that area. Okay, not a big problem, not difficult to take care of. And we've made things children of things before, so we just haven't done it within Playmaker. So how could I do that? Well, let's take a look. If I want to, let's say, make it a child, maybe I could set the parent, and sets the parent of a game object. Well, that's kind of what I want to do. So we will set the parent before we do our position. We're going to set our sheep to be a child of the waypoint. Actually, I don't want to use the waypoint, but let's check the no, I don't want to use the waypoint. I'm going to go over here to my variables, and for the waypoint, I'm going to just drag down my sheep pen. Waypoint might have actually worked as well. Let's see, where's the waypoint probably would have worked as well. Either one probably would have worked. We'll try the waypoint, so that instead of changing, I'll make it a child of the pen waypoint again. Okay, so back here in state, so what I'm wanting to do is make this object, my sheep, a child of the waypoint, and I want to reset his local position. And let's see what this does. Might need to make him a child of the pen. Oops, dang it, wrong button. Either that, or might need to reset the position for the pen waypoint. Sheep, are you with me? You are? Okay. It's kind of weird not having audio. It's like you don't really know. Okay. Where'd my sheep go this time? Go to our scene view. Well, he's not over there, I don't think. Well, open up pen waypoint. There's my sheep. Where you at, sheep? Where did you go? He's inside that building. He's like, cool, I'm in a building. Look at me. So, you know, kind of got a little bit closer there. Alright. Making some progress. Let's try going back here to our variables. Edit our instance, and let's go ahead and make the sheep pen the waypoint instead. And I'm going to keep my my state is still going to, right up here, is still going to do the reset local position. Okay, so now let's go grab our sheep. And let's see if our sheep will go inside there. He should go inside, hopefully. And there he is. Yeah, okay, yeah, he's still floating. You know, add a rigid body, problem solved. Okay, so let's see what happens if we have more than one sheep out here then. So I'm going to go ahead and let's grab that sheep. Let's duplicate that sheep. And I'm going to move my duplicate over there. Okay, let's go back to Sancho and turn his variables, edit instance, his find sheep. Let's turn this up to 2. There we go. And let's go find us some sheep. So we got 1 sheep, 2 sheep. Come over here, sheeps. And we'll put our sheeps in here, and there they are. Still floating. Add a rigid body, solved. Notice this guy's kind of right there on the border, so we might want to tweak our positioning of our sheep just a little bit. And basically what I mean by that is edit the prefab right here in our find pin. Let's go to state. Maybe we want to go like 16 to 20 on the Z and 16 to 19 on the X, you know, just to give us that 1 unit padding margin all the way around the whole thing. So that way, you know, we don't have to worry about them overlapping with anything. And let's see. Delete him again. Make another copy here. Pull him over there. There we go. Alright, let's go grab our sheep again. And then we'll just have, you know, maybe, now we're probably good here. There we go. No, I'll mention one more thing. Kind of not even required for the assignment or anything. So there they are. They're in there. Now, you know, it might be that we want to also randomize the rotation so they're not always facing the same direction. Yeah, you know, that's not, we can do that. But one other thing that might be of use to add to this sheep, let's go to, and I'll show this really quick here. Let me grab my Sancho up here. I lost my Sancho. There's Sancho. Okay, so let's say Sancho only has to find 1 sheep. Okay, so he only has to find 1 sheep. And I'm going to take this sheep and I'm going to move this sheep way over here. Okay, so he's only got to find 1 sheep. Now what's going to happen here is when I find my 1 sheep and I go turn it in, both of my sheep are going to show up in the pen because I fired that global event. There they are, they're both there. But they shouldn't both be there. Only the 1 sheep that was following me should be there. So here's how we're going to fix this. So let's grab our fluffy sheep right here. And we're going to take a look at some variables. And we have a variable right over here inside this idle state, this bool test. If start follow is true, I'm sorry, if follow is true, then it comes over here and it follows. But if follow is false, then this sheep was never touched. So let's go inside this find pen position. Before we do any of that stuff, let's do an action browser, and we're going to throw in a bool test. And this bool test will throw it all the way up at the top because this is basically going to short circuit us out of this whole system. It's going to be follow. If it is false, we're going to need an event. Let's do an event. I'm going to say stay put. That's going to be my event. I'm going to add add transition, stay put. Stay put is going to go all the way over there to follow. Let's grab these guys. Or I'm sorry, all the way over there to idle, like so. And now, so if follow is false, you will stay put. And that will short circuit him right out of dealing with repositioning himself. Okay, so with that done, let's go ahead and copy our fluffy sheep again, Control D. Move him way over there somewhere. And let's see how many sheep show up in our pen this time. So come over here. Run down over this way. We have one sheep in there. And the other sheep stayed out there. So we were able to have multiple sheep out there, and only one of them actually shows up here. All right, so there we go. We've got our sheep quest finished. Kind of a little tricky exercise, a little tricky assignment there. Not too terribly bad, but really had to kind of take our time through it and develop through these iterative testing steps. Most of those actions we've seen before. The only really new one was that set parent, but we kind of knew the idea behind it because we've set children in other ways. And the other thing was the send event, where we did a broadcast all. We've used the send event before, but not the broadcast all. So, kind of little digging into how some of these actions work so that we can get them to do exactly what we want. Okay, so questions, comments, just throw them into the comment section below. Other than that, have a good day, and